think about as a fresher or a CA finalist, when we think about the first choice, it's always investment banking. And I want to get into investment banking, I want to get into deal advisory are the first magical phrases which every CA fresher gets into their mind. So most of the times this happens is what exactly happens there? होता कैसे है, how things work. So that's where when I bumped into Neha after a long time or a gap of almost 5-10 years, and then we were discussing things, and then I asked Neha, can you help the CA candidates understand all this? So let me tell you, she was very generous enough, and it's not the first time. I think it's the third time we are asking Neha to pull out time, and she has been kind enough to give this. Friends, you can be very open to ask questions. The format of the session would be in such a way that you will Neha will first put up her views, and then once she puts up her point and completes it, then you can take your questions and ask those questions. I would suggest, rather than interrupting in between, yes, we have kept a time, so Neha would take around like 45-50 minutes if I'm not wrong, and then after that another 20 minutes we have for you, so you can keep your questions ready so that then the discussion can be better. So without doing much ado and more formalities, I invite CA Neha Singh to take this up further. Neha, you are the co-host. You can present your screens also, and if you need some assistance from my side to change the screens, please let me know.
A small assistant, sir. If you can present the screen of the slides, we're starting. I think if you have, otherwise I can present my screen.
I don't have your presentation.
Okay, let me just download it and present it. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. It's quite old.
Yes, it is.
Scroll a bit. Okay, so thank you, sir. Thank you for such a nice introduction about myself. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And thank you, sir, for arranging this session. I always, whenever I see this kinds of post, I always feel that we would have been lucky if we would have get a chance, something like that, when we qualified of CA. But I again feel that right now the generation is more lucky because they have access to many information and much knowledge which is available in the public domain, which they can utilize and actually follow their path. So, first of all, before actually letting go into what kind of a role, there are many ambiguities which is around the different kind of forms which are actually present. So a small suggestion is basically just understand any firm, what do they do. So basically there are many kind of a firm which actually offers the deal related function, which is like one is the investment banking, the other one is the venture capital, another one is the private equity. These three are actually three different kind of functions which is provided by the different organization. So if I have to talk about the investment banking is something like a Goldman Sachs. When you talk about the venture capital, it's something like Sequoia Capital, Excel, Metrics. These are something which is you can call it as a venture capital. What is PE firm? PE firm you can refer to as KKR or maybe Blackstone. These kinds of companies. So these are different kind of a companies which as a CA finalist, it's important for you guys to understand what the different kind of function they perform and how do they differ because even for joining the company you should understand that what that company do because every company differs. So when I talk about the investment banking does not only offer the services which is related to providing the funding, but it provides like a merger acquisition services or raising the capital, When I talk about the venture capital, venture capital provide the fundraising services. Basically, any kind of a new investment, a company which is a startup needs the funding. At that point of time, this venture capital come into the picture. When I talk about the private equity comes into the picture when actually the firm or any startup has become mature. I was just want to correlate for you guys with the Shark Tank, which is actually publicly available so that you can actually understand what happens is when I talk about the Shark Tank, it's kind of a venture capital function which they perform, not kind of investment banking, not kind of a private equity. So these are different kind of a function. So before actually entering for any interview, before actually applying for any job description jobs, you should actually understand that what is the difference between these kinds of function which is basically provided by the company, which will be actually helpful. Now, maybe I'll just uh, actually let you know what is the entire venture capital function works, what is the different department where you can actually pitch in, and how the deal processes actually happens. When I talk about the venture capital, basically there are two terms which everybody should be aware. One is the limited partner, one is the general partner. General partner, you can assume, because I'm sure you guys have already done a lot of research about the mutual fund and other fund. General partner, you can correlate as a fund manager who actually have the skin in the game, have all the mind where the money has to be invested. LP is somebody who is high net worth individual, you can refer to as HNI, who puts their money. So general partner basically manages their money, limited partner puts their money. So and that is how the fund raises the money. And over a period of 5 to 10 years, the initial years will be the period where there will be a payment comes from limited partner. They will invest into company, and when they exit at that point of time, money gets back and they distribute in the form of I can put it in a very common language as a dividend, and that is where this the profit earn. So in a short term, LP pays the money, GP invests in the any startup. When the exit or IPO happen, the 100 rupees become 200. That difference of 100 rupees is basically gets distributed back to LPs. That is how they get the return. Now in the market, there are very different kind of forms which are available, which is like equity fund which is available, there are debt fund which is available, there are credit fund which is available, there are real estate fund is available. So again, when you guys are actually going for applying any job or going for any kind of interview, just be aware which fund domain that particular firm is, because there is equity fund which only get invest into equity. There is debt fund which provide debt instrument also to the basically startup companies. They provide loan. When I talk about the credit fund, they actually provide the credit. So there are different kind of a form. So there are different kind of a firm who provide same kind of a services, but you should understand what the basic function is. All this venture capital firm provide a financial assistant, not only financial assistant but other assistants as well, but the basic criteria is providing the financial assistant by taking up their equity. So yeah, that was a short description of venture capital firm. Maybe I'll take you in depth the process, how they do deal it, and how they actually what do they do in detail. Now, how do they start? Basically, suppose if I am a VC firm, or maybe if I have to take a start from there, what I will do, I will start looking for startup. And how do I start looking for startup? Through my network. I can take example of Mama Earth or maybe a Grow, which has gone to IPO and it has become a major success. How do the Peak 15 has started basically searching it? With the deal with their network, they get to know that they need funding. Now when they need funding, this is called a deal sourcing. Okay, the Peak 15 has met with the owner of Mama Earth or Grow, understand their need, what their function do, what that these companies like Mama Earth or basically Grow or Razorpay, these kind of a company is called a portfolio company. So the Peak 15 will understand, go and talk to them by deal sourcing by their network, and they will understand what actually they do, what is their revenue, what is their EBITDA, what is their metrics look like, and that is what it is called as deal sourcing. Then once they comes into the contact, then they what this next process start is basically they start doing the due diligence. And what all basically happens in the due diligence, they start evaluating key what do they actually do, what is the market size. So these kinds of a question you would have heard in the Shark Tank also, key what is the market size, what is the basically gross margin, what is the net margin, how much have you done the revenue last year, this year, have you taken the funding earlier. So these kinds of due diligence after both the VCs and portfolio company, or maybe I can call it as a founder, comes into the contact, these kinds of discussions start. That is what they actually pitch in, and that is what the other basically GPs ask the question before actually letting the deal sign. So when I say the due diligence, it's only two word, but there are a lot of paperwork which goes, there are a lot of presentation which goes because they have to put up the number, and that number should be genuine enough, because once the deal is signed, there is a back end process of verification of those number also, which is not there in the public, but it actually happens. The due diligence is also required to verification of the processes, verification of the number, whether the company is actually correctly mentioning the numbers at the time of pitch or not. So now I'll take you to the next step. Basically, first one was basically deal sourcing, and then second one was due diligence. That I'm facing a challenge. Now, what happens after that? VC firm negotiate an exchange. After that due diligence and everything happens, the VC firm negotiate how much equity they want to take in the any startup company and give the funding to them. And once the funding is basically given to them, they become one of the kind of a owner shareholder of that particular company. They don't leave that company as it is, ki bhaiya, I have given you money and this is all done. No, they actually provide a hand holding that, see, your operation is going wrong here, you should have this particular strategy, you should follow this particular. There is a kind of a hand holding which happens on a regular basis by the GP, which is a general partner in a venture capital firm, so that that investment, when it get exit, the return is actually maximum. So it's not only giving the money and taking a equity, but also a hand holding, so that actually their investment perform good. And now at the last, so basically at the post investment, this is a continuous exercise which happen. They provide strategic advice, they provide operational support if they are lacking the CFO. So basically in the startup they don't have a systematic finance function or a systematic marketing function, or any kind of a different organization is not there. What they do is they actually provide those kind of a support in getting things arranged so that that company performs properly. Now once that happens, company is actually performing good, they keep on monitoring that, okay, everything is good over a period of time. When actually the times comes that the company can go for a IPO, that is where the LP actually earn money. So you got the equity. Now how what is the way to exit that? They have the IPO, and or maybe acquired by a larger company. These are the two ways where the basically VC firms make the money, which in turns get distributed to LP. So if I have to put it a number, suppose if any of the VC has invested 100 rupees, they can get it to 200 rupees by selling the shares in IPO, and then 100 rupees is basically get distributed to the LPs. Now there are profit sharing model also apart from this particular thing, and in the entire scenario of why the GP is gonna work, because GP is gonna make their money by one more source, which is of a management fees. And management fees is not only source of money for a GP, but also they takes the management fees for their operational work, day-to-day work. Suppose basically to run their own firm. And then apart from the so suppose if there is 100 rupees of cost and 100 rupees of profit, it's not the entire 100 goes to LPs. GP says this was my mind, I have put so much of effort, so I will take the carry. This is the carry word, which is nothing but the profit, which is goes to LP, because they have invested their time, because they have invested their mind. The result of profit, which is actually getting Earned is nothing but the effort of a GP, is a general partner. So these are very two common terms which you find out. Maybe you can actually learn about these two forms, which can also be part of an interview session. So, yep, these two form. Maybe let me take to the next slide. Okay. Now, this is actually organizational structure of VC firm is very important to understand so that you guys understand where you have to apply for a job, because in the market there will be many job opening which will be available. You need to understand not by referring to the name, but you need to understand which department you are going into, and which is actually always any company who has a core function actually pays you more. So understand what is the core function and then probably take a decision. So if I have to talk about the VC organizational structure, it's basically divided into four parts. One is the investment team who does the deal sourcing, which I have actually explained in the earlier slide, deal sourcing, and then basically all the evaluation of whether to invest in the portfolio company, whether to invest in this startup or not, is basically done by the investment. These are very cream generation. If I talk about it, mostly these folks are chartered accountant, IIT, and then the MBAs from outside India. So these are the investment team. Fund management team is somewhere who actually works on the accounting part. So once the deal happen, if you have to move the money from there to there, if you have to work on the metrics of how the fund is performing, that is where the accountant come into the picture. There again, a chartered accountant can pitch in and have the operations done. Then portfolio support services. Once the any equity firm actually invest, they become a portfolio for venture capital firm, and there is a support function is basically gets provided. We do evaluate their MIS, we do evaluate their audited financial statement, whether numbers are properly fine, whether anything is getting everything is getting properly accounted, not accounted, every function is basically up to mark or not. That is where the portfolio services comes into the picture again. See, as a CA, there also you have many opening. You will find many opening. You can get into there. The last come as a finance oversight. It's a GP internal finance team, which actually, as soon as you receive as soon as the GP receives the management fees, this finance oversight function decides whom all have to pay to the salary, whom all have to pay the carry, what is the rent will look like, how the basically internal finance core of any venture capital firm is the fourth one. So these are the core function before actually evaluating for any job description. Pinpoint that which kind of a role are you actually getting into, and so that you can understand what your role will look like. The in the any kind of a VC, the investment team is something which is just like a core, because they only with them their help only you'll be able to generate the return which LP can we get to the LPs. So that's it. Then I'll just move on to the next slide. Yep, the summary. Okay, so I'll not basically make you guys actually worried that how to enter into a investment team. It's a very, I can just give you a small tip that venture capital firm always take the support of a big four. And I have seen in my career many hiring happen via directly big four. Basically, they were actually assisting on the fund accounting services or any kind of a portfolio services which is done by big four. And then that is how the poaching happens. And big VC firms are actually VC firm hires any candidate. So that is one of the way you can get into the VC. The other way is basically the networking. If you know somebody and if there is an opening. Nowadays, many venture capital or AIF alternative investment fund are basically getting launched. So that is how you can get into the basically in the venture capital form. It's one small suggestion: keep reading, keep understanding, keep actually knowing about the fact, so that you'll be able to understand where you are actually landing up. Maybe I'll take a pause now and take the questions if you have any.
Was that too much for all of them?
Mayank has something.
Okay, so Mayank Singhvi has a question. Mayank, you can, I'll just enable that you can unmute yourself and then ask the questions. Just, yes, you are able to unmute yourself, Mayank. You can ask a question.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, am I audible?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Neha. That was a really great session. I had a question. Basically, the due diligence is done by another company. Like, it's not done by the venture capitalist or the venture capital capitalist जो होते हैं वही they only do the due diligence or they hire someone.
There is an internal team do the diligence, but they in turn take the help of consultant. When I talk about consultant,
Okay.
says that कि बिग फोर को अपॉइंट कर लिया, मेरी ये कंपनी है, मैं एक डेडिकेटेड टीम हूँ which is of due diligence,
Okay.
and then I'll appoint somebody who is expert in that, and I keep on interacting with them saying that okay, if this documents are correct, if this document is correct, if their numbers are correct. So basically, when you talk about any kind of a department in the venture capital, they always take the support of specialists in the form of big four, so that any kind of a decision which is basically taken by venture capital firm is actually 200% accurate, and they cannot be going anywhere wrong. So there is a dedicated function of due diligence at a VC level itself.
Okay, so basically you can get into a venture capital even through FDD. Like if you're in FDD domain, that also helps in the interview or
Again,
like
it's
how?
depend upon how which actually domain are you entering into, and if that particular domain are actually serving to any of the venture capital fund, you can enter.
Okay, thanks a lot. That was the doubt which I had.
I think Rahul has one more question.
Uh, Good evening, ma'am. First of all,
Okay,
hello, am I
Rahul.
audible?
Yeah, Rahul, I can hear you.
Uh, Thank you, ma'am, for the knowledge you shared. My first question was, what are the source materials should we refer or to increase our knowledge in this field?
What are the,
Or
sorry,
basically,
what are the
source
material?
materials or books or for the knowledge or certificates we can go so that it can enhance our step into the interview calls and all.
See, right now, Rahul, everything is available on the internet or ChatGPT or any kind of AI. Just do one thing. If you have to understand this, just Google it or just put it in a ChatGPT mode. Say, how does the VC form? Where a CA can act in a VC? And they will actually let you know from end to end, from starting to starting, the way I've explained you right now. It's the same thing they will explain you. And they will explain you, there's no book or anything else. Only with the help of CA degree, you can enter into any kind of investment banking or private equity or venture capital. You can just read in the Google, everything in the internet is available, be it a type of a distribution, be it any kind of knowledge around this. So you can just put it a simple line saying that please explain me the entire venture capital process or PE firm process or investment banking, and there will be n number of sources which will be opened on that particular platform in which you are searching, and you can just refer it.
I'll add one thing, Neha. We are nowadays interacting with these Gen Zs, the audience. So what happens is when we tell them कि you can get everything, तो बोले अब we have a problem of plenty. इतने options दिखते हैं, हमको पता ही नहीं चलता किसको click करना है, किसको सही करना है. So I think Rahul is coming with
Yeah,
that particular angle
yeah,
कि किसको
correct,
पढ़ेंगे.
correct,
So
sir.
some authentic
Yeah,
publications, some authentic websites, if you can tell them, so at least they can stick on to that, subscribe to that, and keep reading those things.
yes,
I remember
yes,
last time you mentioned INC 42, I think
Yes.
that was one. So few of them, those
VC
kind of
Circle. Huh, so
VC
understood,
circle.
sir. So basically, VC Circle is one of the subscription you can take where you'll get to know about the VC industry more. Then Mint is one, and then I told in the last session was INC 42 is something. These are the available in the WhatsApp also. But to understand, because the thing is that you guys will be entering into market as a junior level, so you need to first understand how does it work, entire work, and then probably have the knowledge from these kinds of newsletters also, which helps you understand which are the different forms available in the market and what they do. So, three things again: VC Circle, INC 42, and Mint. These are three important sources which you can just subscribe it.
Okay. My next question was, ma'am, how you entered basically in this sort of venture capital through any sources or placement like
I was
uh,
fortunate enough, Rahul, that I had my network with the help of which I entered in a lighthouse also in basically Sequoia also. And LIC Housing Finance was the campus. So I with the
okay.
campus I got my first job, and the second job was through networking, and the third job is again through networking. So once you are in the industry, it's networking is something which is
Hmm.
becomes very important. But apart from networking, there is nowadays which is something called cold email also works. And in the LinkedIn, you
Yeah.
can find out the contact and start cold emailing them. If something, if anybody has the opening, they may come back to you.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. The vacancies are available on their website, right? Or would you suggest that pehle Big Four may? Sorry, Mayank, you can just unmute and you can ask.
Asking that should I go
Okay.
through the big four route only, or
Yeah, I
the big
meant basically like you said big four से direct hiring होती है. So मतलब, is it advisable that first you get into big four and then maybe be involved in a deal and then that might actually help you to get, or how is it?
देखो, आपको मैंने चार फंक्शन बताए, जैसे कि एक इन्वेस्टमेंट टीम होता है, एक फंड ऑपरेशन टीम होता है, पोर्टफोलियो टीम होता है, एंड देन द लास्ट टीम इज फाइनेंस टीम. तो
बराबर.
बिग फोर में अगर आप जाओगे तो फंड अकाउंटिंग की टीम आपको हायर कर सकती है. अगर आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट
Okay.
टीम में जाना है तो एंड एज ए एनालिस्ट, एज ए एसोसिएट, आप जो बीसीजी या मैकेंसी ऐसी कंसल्टिंग फॉर्म है, आप उसमें जाओ. The moment you have a BCG, McKinsey का ठप्पा, these any of the uh, VCs firm will be happy to take you. तो आप उसमें इन्वेस्टमेंट टीम में जाओगे. अगर आप बिग फोर में से जा रहे हो तो फिर आप उसमें फंड अकाउंटिंग में जाओगे, या फाइनेंशियल पोर्टफोलियो में जाओगे, या फिर आप क्या बोलते हैं, फाइनेंस, इंटरनल फाइनेंस वाले फंक्शन में जाओगे. ये it's from one of the few sources to get in, the ways to get in. Basically, any of the venture capital firm doesn't take any of the fresher or any of the direct interview. There is no walking kind of a thing which happens for a venture capital firm. It's always either either through Big Four or any of the big consulting firm. Nowadays, many of the asset and wealth management company, they are actually hiring as an analyst, which is another good option to go into. But when I'm talking about a very large P firm, something like sorry, VC firm, working with a smaller venture capital firm who has actually come into the market. And if you have any network, you can just go and pitch in, as a fresher will also be taken there. And there are many kind of a firm which provides the support services to venture capital firm. If you get into that and you will understand that, and the next step will be actually getting into the venture capital firm. So again, Big Four actually helps in the fund accounting part, not the cream investment team part. I hope I was
Okay,
able
so if you get
to.
into a boutique firm, then that can help to understand if it's in the venture capitals.
So
Small boutique firms जैसे होते हैं ना बॉम्बे में,
हाँ, वो भी हेल्प करते हैं.
that may help, right?
Yes, yes, that can help.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. I think Mohit has one question, and then Trisha also have. After the fund accounting team in VC, can we move on to the investment team? Okay, that's a real, I should say, one thing everybody should know. It's very difficult for to change the profile once you get into one profile, because every time the experience, which is basically counts. So once into you get into the fund accounting team, you will carry that particular experience and you can move into the next fund accounting team only. It will not possible that fund accounting to investment team. It is very very rare. If you have performed way good enough, and if you have a very good network, it is possible. I'm not ruling out, I'm not saying no, because anything is possible if you work for hard for it, but the chances are actually very low.
Hi, ma'am. I'm Teresa.
Hi, Trisa.
I'm com- yes, I'm coming from a background of 3 year of articleship exposure entirely in statutory audit domain. So, how I should start preparing for an investment banking opportunity as I'm having only the audit exposure, and how I should grab the opportunity to get into place into this big VCs and all, or is it possible only through this big four routes, and or is it direct LinkedIn network, or will it work?
I'll take one by one all the questions which you have. So, even if you have a statutory background, that doesn't mean that you cannot break into the investment banking. Firm like KKR, firm like Goldman Sachs, they take the fresher. And what you actually need to study is basically just understanding about the basic aspect, what the basically CA final let you understand. That's all. It's not necessary that you should have the exposure of the audit, not investment banking in the during the articleship also. And basic knowledge of how the chartered accountant as a fresher will be sufficient. That you can read about the ratios, maybe you can read about audited financial statement. These are few things which you can read about and go ahead. A normal interview, they will not ask much deeper question because they also understand you guys are actually fresher. And now talking about what's the way, these are the possible way. And when I talk about enter into big four and then into enter into a VC, I'm not ruling out the possibility of taking a fresher. VC can take a fresher, but because nowadays many kind of VCs getting open and they need fresh talent to actually think out of box. So one of the option is via big four. They actually get absorbed in the VC, but other options of the LinkedIn job, other options of uh, actually letting them emails, basically sending them DM, doing a DM in the LinkedIn. These are also ways to actually get into the VCs or any kind of a fund for.
I'll just add one thing, Neha, into it
Thank you.
because this questions, Teresa, you can listen to this what I am telling. When we speak to the partners in Big Four also, so what happens is they say anybody who wants to get into advisory and this kind of a role needs to have a very good solid statutory audit exposure, because in statutory audit when you are taking care of the whole balance sheet, then you are able to make sense, and there are certain things which are outside the balance sheet but impacting all the contingencies, the liabilities. So the rigor which comes through that quarterly review, the rigor which comes through that annual and half yearly review gives the candidate the edge. And once they do these limited reviews, they have to turn around things in a very faster time. So as you said that a pathway through big four is better, and these VC firms pick people because they are already trained on to work on that way. So all these firms have got time as the biggest currency which they lose. So if there is a slow moving person, they don't prefer. So they want sikha sikhaya, already trained banda if they get, so they can take it as a plug and play. Your Excels have to be great, your Power BI has to be great, your analytical ability has to be very fast. So all the people in the smaller firms, directly we would like to be there. Our intention is good, but sometimes the skill sets is the backup, it's the gap. So the skill set gets developed when you spend time in Big Four and specifically into specific domains, deal advisory, statutory audit, M&A taxation. So these things prepare you for going further. Just wanted to add this.
Correct, sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Ananya and Hitesh are not having questions. Hitesh has raised his hand. Hitesh, do you want to have a question being asked?
Yes, sir. Good evening, ma'am. Ma'am, I have one question. I want to know what would be the practical roadmap to break into this field as a fresher, rather than, I mean, my personal opinion would be to directly move into this field as a fresher and then learn from them in the beginning itself. So, what should be my roadmap? Like, what skills should I have? So, for example, my interview should be after 2 or 3 months. So, in the next 2 3 months, what skills should I prepare for? Like financial modeling, or what certification should I gather, and should I prepare some projects or not?
So again, Hitesh, CA itself is actually a very big degree, and still it's hold a lot of value. There's no additional certification which adds value uh, after doing a CA. So even the financial modeling, even the any kind of a certification is, it's not something which is gonna add value. But yes, having said that, develop your Excel skill, develop your Power BI skill. These kinds of tools which are available in the market, these are basic, even not only for the investment banking. If any of the form, if you learn all these things during this lean period which you have, that is going to helpful. Now breaking into that, these industry, I already told you. So there are new. There are big fours who actually have this specific domain. That is how you can get into the VC. Then there is a network, then you can email to them saying that I'm interested in this particular thing. I've already learned I'm a freshly qualified chartered accountant and understand these basics terms like what is limited partner, what is general partner, what is the management fees. So if you do a cold email saying all these terms, maybe anybody would love to have an interaction with you about this fact. So yeah, these are the ways basically to get into, and no additional degrees basically required apart from a C.
All these candidates nowadays carry this FOMO, and thanks to all the social media and LinkedIn hype and YouTube shorts and Instagram, ये नहीं करा तो कैसे जॉब लगेगी, unless you get ready for interviews and all that. So it has all become in a packaged way, and most of the people get into that situation. मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं आता है. आफ्टर अपियरिंग फॉर CA फाइनल एग्जाम्स, इफ यू आर सेइंग मुझे कुछ नहीं आता, आई डोंट नो एनीथिंग, देन दैट इज द बिगेस्ट प्रॉब्लम. So that is something which all the kids have to understand. But unfortunately, these people are growing up in an atmosphere where they are made to feel that unless you attend our sessions, unless you pay upfront fee, you will not be capable for anything. So no degree and no certifications are added. Matlab, chartered accountancy in itself, Neha says, as you and me and Neha have been on this conversation earlier also. एक मेहनत कर ली है, उसको यूज करना सीखो.
Yes, rightly said, sir. It's very important that you value your degree. CA is a very big thing. It's not an easy exam at all. And once you have that, there's no other additional certification which actually have a weightage equivalent to a chartered accountancy course.
So Neha, Mayank has raised one more thing. Uh, he's saying that a FOMO is incoming, that financial modeling is very much necessary for FDD. Now, what I understand, if somebody is understanding your business acumen and capabilities, financial models are already built. There are softwares already doing this work. They need you to go and sit in front of those softwares and check that whether things are happening correct or not. पूरा मॉडलिंग खुद थोड़ी ना करना है, मॉडल तो बना हुआ है ऑलरेडी.
That's rightly said, sir. So basically, this is very fancy term financial modeling. But उस financial modeling में होता क्या है आप लोगों को खुद ही पता होगा. जब आप एक मॉडल खुद गूगल पे आप सर्च कर लो, एक आप मॉडल डाउनलोड कर लो, वो आपको खुद ही समझ में आ जाएगा. It's nothing. It's just these kinds of Excel are pre-made, and it is you guys will be able to handle very easily. There is no need for spending extra money on different kind of a certification, because many a time it happens that even after having a certification, people actually lack the real talent which is required to do the job. So forget about any kind of a additional certification course. I think Rahul and Mohit again have some question.
Yes, Mohit, please
Uh,
unmute yourself and ask the question.
Hello, ma'am. So I am from internal audit domain, and I'm not getting a chance for VC. Actually, I am CFA 3 candidate also and CA also. Then also they are rejecting me on the basis of my internal audit experience. They said they prefer stat audit. So what shall I do?
Okay, Mohit, I'll give you my example itself. I'll not give you any example. I am a person who had the experience of NBFC. It's when I talk about NBFC, it's LIC Housing Finance. And the rejection is basically synonym to every person, I should say. keep actually trying till the time you get in. It's not something that if you have X experience, you'll not get into the Y experience. I've seen many people who have a experience going into the Y. In the early career of your career, it's very easy to actually move from one profile to another profile. Even if you have the internal audit experience, it's not that you cannot go into the VC. You can very much go, and this is the right time actually to say that, okay, I want to go and enter into a VC. So it's, you don't stop yourself, start applying. Basically, start applying for KKR, start applying for Goldman. I've seen many vacancies which are there in the LinkedIn right now. LinkedIn is actually one of the very good platform to actually understand what, start applying for JP Morgan. So these are the firm who actually takes the freshers. So start applying it. This, they will not reject only basis that you have internal audit experience. And one more thing, rejection is always part of anyone's career. Even I have also faced n number of rejection before getting into the Sequoia. After getting into the Sequoia also, I have given n number of interview where I am rejected, and I'm rejected upfront that you don't have any kind of a relevant experience which is we are looking for this particular job. They come upfront say that, but that doesn't mean that we stop looking for what we want.
So, ma'am, shall I go for MBA or something? I am planning to go for MBA, so that will be a direct entry for me into an IB or VC
अभी आप
because I
MBA कहाँ से करोगे? Okay, again for MBA you, there are two things. CA itself, again I say it's a very good degree. Doing an additional MBA, it's not something a way to get into a venture capital, nothing like that. Now, if again this is a financial risk, Mohit, basically what I would suggest is get into a job, have the corporate exposure, understand this, and then if you feel like have doing a MBA, you can go ahead, because again, this is a very financial decision a person should take. CA itself is a full degree which does not require any additional degree to complement it. You can go ahead for IIT or maybe engineers. We can say that they need MBA to understand the basic financial term. But we, as we are blessed with, we are a chartered accountant, we understand the financials end to end. So again, I would not suggest to go for a MBA right now. Understand how the corporate functions, how the actually industry work, and maybe after 2 or 3 years of working in a corporate, if you still feel like you want to go ahead and do the MBA, and do it.
On a lighter note, I'll tell you, by the time they invest time in 2 3 years for their career, the society starts asking them आगे क्या, when are you getting married, and then that wheel starts. छोड़ते नहीं है किसी को भी.
That's true. That's true. That's true, sir. Very rightly said. And nowadays, sir, if you see, most of the folks are actually going into the startup, having their own brand developed instead of having any, and instead of having doing this MBA or any kind of working for any other firm. So अभी market बहुत ही अलग direction में जा चुका है.
अभी but I'll tell you what, Neha, the bitter truth is we celebrate the selected wins. But ये ऐसा बनने के पीछे बहुत सारे लोग वापस भी लौट गए हैं.
Exactly.
So if there are 3 cases today, there was this sparked debate by Nikhil Kamath and once that MBA is not needed, and then it sparked a debate everywhere. Then finally Aman Gupta came in. मैंने MBA इसलिए किया because I wanted to get that things done in that business format and everything. So this debate has been going on. What I always feel is we celebrate those 3 or 4 victories, but nobody talks about the 96 who could not make it.
Exactly.
जैसे
Exactly.
CA में होता है ना, everybody can't become a CA. So
Exactly.
that's the challenge and problem है, nobody's talking, and that mass is getting bigger and bigger which is not able to make it.
It's just that you should not, if you want something, do it, believe in yourself, and knock the door, I should say, till the time it gets open according to your wish. मतलब you should not stop, keep trying, keep trying. CA में भी हम ये बोलते हैं कि CA फाइनल जब तक क्लियर नहीं हो जाए, even I also took a many attempt to clear the CA. So just keep trying it, whatever you want. Rejection
but
will always be there.
so ma'am, it's already been 5 months. I'm May 25 clear chartered accountants and being trying for VC. I'm getting entry in statutory audit, that too in like a top 10 firm, but very low package because I'm from internal. So shall I take that or keep trying? for VC only.
भाई पैसे की चिंता मत करो ना भाटिया जी. फिर इफ यू आर गेटिंग दैट एंट्री लेवल, दे सी द स्माइल. मी एंड नेहा बोथ स्माइल. पैसा सीखने के लिए नहीं, सीखने के लिए जा रहे हो. व्हेन यू आर गेटिंग पेड टू लर्न, once you are having that experience under the belt, then the need is something which anybody will come and pick you up. Bole boss, get the extra money, take that money, will just come and help me out. So you develop the skill sets. No? I don't know why this is something which I have to always explain to the freshers also. A new doctor, a new lawyer doesn't get that fee. He wants to do a 10 lakh rupee surgery. He wants to charge 5,000 rupees for a visit. But he has to develop that experience under the belt first. नाम तो चले डॉक्टर का, नाम तो आए वकील का. तो सेम थिंग हैपेंस विद सीए. बोले यार दिस गाय इज शार्प एंड देन ही विल बी एक्सपेंसिव. बट टू बिकम एक्सपेंसिव यू नीड टू डू द हार्ड वर्क.
Can I
Exactly.
add it? Hello.
बट मैम से तो टैग लग जाता है कि एक बार उसमें घुस गए, लाइक फंड अकाउंट में घुस गए, तो फिर आगे वही रोल्स मिलेंगे. सो दैट्स
मोहित,
कंसर्निंग मी.
लेट मी टेक दिस. यहाँ मोहित, कोई भी टैग डिपेंड करता है आप कितने कंफर्टेबल हो गए उस पोजीशन में जाके. if you keep reading, if you keep doing something or the other, see I'll tell you the real problem in life क्या है. अरमान बहुत ज़्यादा है अंदर. एफर्ट और अरमानों का कॉम्बिनेशन बिठाने में बहुत मेहनत लगती है. यू वांट सम गुड अमाउंट ऑफ मनी फ्लोइंग इन थ्रू फंड अकाउंटिंग, यू आर गेटिंग दैट हैंडसम पॉकेट मनी. Now that demands, if somebody is paying you let's say X amount, so he wants 2x returns from your salary. 100 रुपये देगा तो 200 आपसे कमाएगा कंपनी वाला. अब आप सो बोलो 100 मुझे मिलते रहे और मैं अपने सपनों को पूरा करता रहूं, तो आप में वो एफिशिएंसी और स्टैमिना चाहिए. फिर साथ यू कीप नॉकिंग द डोर्स. अब बिगेस्ट द ओनली डिबेट विच ऑलवेज कम्स इन इज कि मेरे को कंफर्टेबल सैलरी छोड़नी नहीं है पर काम अपने मन का करना है. तो वो कहीं ना कहीं तो अपने को प्लंज लेना पड़ेगा.
ओके, थैंक यू सर. थैंक यू मैम.
I think Rahul has, Pooja has some question. There are a couple of folks which
Yes,
have.
I think Rahul has a question. Pooja
Uh,
Singh.
uh, Hello, sir. Sir, I want to come back to the part of that FOMO one that for the CA freshers. Actually, the thing is, I have done my articleship for the 3 years from the tier 2, tier 3 cities. And I have got, by the God grace, I have got exposure in all fields, like in GST, in income tax, and audit, statutory audit. So I have got that work profile ready. But the thing is, now as I'm going into the like chat GPT or in the LinkedIn also to speak to the people or talk with my principals only, they're saying, "What are you doing this, man? That finance thing and all this thing up for the upper level, you don't get the experience, you have to go this there." So they already degrading by that motivation thing. But I have that spark, so I'm just trying everywhere and seeking certificates. Like I've joined your group. So that's why I'm looking for some concrete path to walk in because uh, I'm like lost, you can say, to find things and what should I do like that.
So, Rahul, basically, what should you do depends on you only. First of all, having this kind of exposure where you have got the exposure to everything is a very good thing because only few people actually get this kind of
Uh,
exposure
yes,
where
actually,
you.
the thing was, yeah, they don't usually give tasks. I have to go and like snatch from their head to give me this. I will try that and so I am kind of that research and analysis guy because if something new is given to me, I go deep into the sections or whatever there is. I will take a time and I will give you the result, whatever the case is. So I am that kind of guy. Yeah.
That's good. I think FDC is like that only. But yeah, where you want to go next is something depends on you, which profile suits you best, which profile actually makes you feel more interested, be it tax, be it the GST, be it audit or internal audit or anything. It's something which you only will be able to help yourself out and then probably start looking job for that particular domain. I think Pooja has certain question now.
Pooja and Hitesh. And it seems there was some glitch, so somebody got registered with the name of Pooja Sharma. He or she might be a different name. We are having this glitch since last few days. And today also, Neha, because of that link glitch, many of the candidates are still messaging me that they are not able to log in and was not able to figure out what happened.
Uh,
Hitesh, you have a question, you can go ahead.
यस मैम, मेरा ये बेसिक क्वेश्चन था कि ये वीसीस का जो वर्क होता है वो एक्चुअली में बैक एंड वर्क है या फ्रंट एंड में भी, मतलब क्लाइंट इंटरेक्टिंग वर्क है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स, मतलब हमको एनालिसिस में ज़्यादा टाइम देना पड़ेगा या फिर हमारा क्लाइंट इंटरेक्शन में या फिर मीटिंग्स में एमआईज रिपोर्टिंग में टाइम ज़्यादा जाता है पर्टिकुलर फील्ड्स में?
It depends which part you are going on. As I explained in my slide, there are four functions which happens. It's the investment team, then fund accounting, portfolio, and internal finance. Now, investment team who actually is the front face who goes to LP seek for a money, saying that मेरा fund इतना return देगा आपको, आप please मेरे fund में पैसा लगाइए. They are the front end basically of the company. Now, when I talk about other function, which is portfolio, fund accounting, and or internal finance GP, is basically they don't go and meet to the LPs. They actually perform back end function. So there are both kind of a function in the entire setup. You need to understand where you want to go in. And again, it depends upon which makes you feel more excited.
Okay. Ma'am, I have heard basically that moving into a profit-centered role is better than going into a cost-centered role. In fields में, which is more profit-centric roles?
VC में there's nothing called a profit center role or cost center role. There's nothing like the entire firm will be considered as a profit center only. So basically the core function will be of the investment team, other will be the support function. I can categorize this not as a profit or a cost one, but it is a support function and a main function. Investment team will be the main function and other will be the support function.
Okay, that's it. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. I think Trisa has one more question and Jaya also.
Yeah,
Let me take
we
question.
will take a hard stop within next 5 minutes because otherwise this won't end. We'll take, yes, a couple of more questions we can take.
What kind of skill set would I work on these pre-days of getting into IB? Any mock interview platform for IB? Again, Google is something you can search, Trisha, and you can just understand what kind of a question. In fact, chat, even if I go and prepare for any interview, I just put that particular profile which is there or job description in a chat GPT and ask me to prepare a questions. And they actually talk, they tell me what kind of a question is gonna ask. There might be some technical question you can specifically ask. That is a mock interview test. There's no separate platform as such for a mock interview test. Before going into any interview, one small suggestion: keep be ready with your introduction. That is going to help, and be fluent in the introduction. What you have, be start preparing for that introduction session of yours, which is actually not more than 30 to 40 seconds, and record yourself giving that particular self introduction so that you can be able to smoothly deliver when you go for an interview. Jaya has one. What makes the fresher resume stand out of EB role? It's not something very out of the world because every fresher is fresher. It's just that you apply. There's no role. It's all the basic things will still remain same. It has to be ATS friendly. It has to be in a proper format. These are the basic resumes which actually required to be prepared. There's nothing additional which you can actually add into the resume, Jaya. Now I think Pooja has certain question. Just a quick question. I am a November 24 qualified working in a banking and finance in a private limited company. I have end-to-end exposure in closing banking detail from negotiating exposure
In
to
closing banking
execution.
deals from negotiation to execution. She is more expert into how loan proposals work.
Do you
Am I
think that
correct, Jaya? I think Jaya, it was Jaya's, no?
Hey,
Pooja
hi.
Sharma.
Actually, my name is Sumit. I don't know why is showing Pooja Sharma here.
Yes.
Uh, so yes, you are correct. I basically handle the banking part of my company, which is a manufacturing company. Basically, I'm the face of the company with bankers. I
So
have
that
gone into deals
so that
from
doesn't
negotiations and
yeah.
closing out the deals.
Sumit, as far as I understand, you are the face of the company, but when we talk about the deal scenario and the deal environment, that's a very different aspect where you need to understand the business, forecast things accordingly, and then finally bring in. So Neha, would you like to add something into it कि ये same है या different है?
डेफिनेटली सर ये डिफरेंट है बट अगेन एज आई राइटली सेड मेरा पहला एक्सपोजर भी एनबीएफसी में था विच इज एलआईसी हाउसिंग फाइनेंस एलआईसी हाउसिंग फाइनेंस एक्चुअली लोन देती है तो मैंने लोन अमोर्टाइजेशन शेड्यूल बनाया है मैंने क्रेडिट अप्रेजल का पार्ट किया है मैंने इनकम स्टेटमेंट इवेल्युएट किया है हाई नेटवर्थ इंडिविजुअल का देन आई मूव टू द वीसी विच इज वॉज अ कोर वीसी सो दिस आई कैन नॉट से दैट कि आपका ये एक्सपोजर है तो आप यहाँ पे नहीं जा सकते ये जो बेसिकली फेयर है कि एक प्रोफाइल से दूसरे प्रोफाइल जाना नामुमकिन है दैट इज नॉट करेक्ट इट इज पॉसिबल आई एम द लाइव एग्जाम्पल ऑफ दैट सो इवन इफ यू हैव डन दिस काइंड ऑफ अ थिंग it is possible to go in another field and you are November 24 only qualified there's a possibility you can go and apply.
But for that, I will have to get some experience in some kind of a related field, right? यहाँ पे ही
मेरे पेस में भी तो मैं एलआईसी हाउसिंग फाइनेंस थी मेरे पास सिकोया का कोई एक्सपीरियंस नहीं था आई गॉट इनटू दैट in fact there are many friends of mine who has actually gone into different profile having no experience when I said that कि आप एक बार प्रोफाइल ज्वाइन कर लेते हो उसके बाद आपको उसी प्रोफाइल पे मिलते जाता है that is also true but that happens after I think 7 or 8 years of experience. Now I am sitting with a 12 year of experience. If I want to change entirely, that will be difficult for my end. But having experience of 2 year, 3 years, it's very early in the career. You are actually allowed to change.
right, so I just have to develop the core skills which are required for that kind of a role, right? मतलब मैं फिर alternatively जैसे खुद के time में I have to keep upskilling myself.
There's nothing which you have to actually upscale. Again, uh, keep reading about what job description is when you see any kind of opening, and accordingly you prepare. Because as a CA, when you qualify CA, you anyways get the basic understanding of everything. So based on the job description, you understand that, you keep reading about, keep inquiring about it, and then you can appear for any interview.
Right, it clears much of my queries. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think we were on the Jaya's question. I missed that. Okay, Jaya question has been addressed. Pooja's was done.
I think Ananya has a same question which got repeated. Which would be better to get into investment team profile into VC via consulting firm or as sir said via deal taxation and M&A exposure from Big Four for the core skill set. Ananya, first of all, I would pray and wish that you get a platter like this to choose. जनरली ये चारों एक साथ मिलेंगे नहीं बेटा जहां से भी मिले यू कैन गेट योर एंट्री रूट दैट इज व्हाट वी आर ट्राइंग टू टेल यू
और one more thing, investment banking ही दुनिया नहीं है. After working for so many years with Peak or maybe Lighthouse, there are other domain also which are performing very good, very informative, I should say. So it's not something which is a end कि मुझे वीसी में ही जाना है. आप किसी और प्रोफाइल में भी रह के you can earn a lot of money, and it's basically what is the core interest and how do you develop yourself, that is and what is actually gives you a basically a kick to work in, because every kind of organization expect a lot of a time from you guys. And as right now you guys are single, आप कुछ दिनों बाद आपके पेरेंट्स आपको जिद करेंगे कि आपको शादी करनी है. मैनेजिंग फैमिली, मैनेजिंग वर्क, मैनेजिंग everything at the same point of time becomes very difficult. And I'm telling you very upfront, investment banking, venture capital and PE is very fast pace. They
वेरी डिमांडिंग
required everybody to be on toes every time. and big companies, big VCs, they have their organization set up in different kind of countries, be it a US, be it a London. So आप फिर 24/7 काम करते रह जाओगे. So going into any job, you should actually keep also this in mind. Okay, what surprised you most when you first work in investment banking? Timings, yeah, because I have worked till 2 o'clock in the night, 3 o'clock in the night. I have woke up again morning 7 o'clock and I attended 8 o'clock morning call. So it was the timing, Jaya, which actually kept me surprised that people actually work 24/7 here. So that was the most surprising thing. Again, how to prepare for an assessment test for IB profile. There are many things. You go for IIM job, there is assessment test. They gives you a question. There is ChatGPT. There is a Google which helps you. So they any fresher they ask basic question. They don't ask any kind of questions which will be actually having a deeper knowledge or which I can have right now after a tenure of experience. We as a sitting in an interview panel also understand that you guys are fresher, you will not be able to understand a uh, core word terminology of any kind of a VC. So they ask basic question which is related to CA final profile.
The best part is now they have got access to all the GPT tools, so they can actually understand and start smartly with them, tossing those terms and everything, and then get ready for it. We had done a session that they need to develop how to understand and put the prompts properly to use these AI bots to train them well for interviews, which they can.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
today we have a lesser audience, but you've got good fans. Jaya is admiring that. Thanks for such an honest answer. An explanation is so clear with clarity. Thanks a lot. Mayank is also thankful. I think we should draw a line now because time is valuable for all of us, and keeping Neha occupied on a Saturday evening, it's her generosity that she gave the time. But let's respect each other's time also. So I, on behalf of all of you, really put a thanks to Neha for pulling out time. And guys, let me tell you, these people are very valuable. Their time is very valuable. Somehow, I am fortunate enough that they love me to such an extent that a single call or a single email and they agree to a date. I don't know what I have done to get this much of support from my students, but yes, I truly cherish the presence of all my students coming back and then giving it back to all of you. So thank you very much, Neha, and it's really always a pleasure to have you. And the ease which you provide us makes us spoiled, and we are like spoiled for कि नेहा को तो हम बुला ही सकते हैं. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having. Thank you, guys, for asking so many questions and having this interaction session interactive. All the best for the results.
Yeah, and may I request all of you to just click a screenshot film, a picture, and then post it on LinkedIn, tag Neha, and send a connection request so that you increase your network, friends. This is how things work. पहले पुराने ज़माने में you used to go and meet people in person. Now with technology, you can increase your network across the places. So it's better you connect with them. Neha, I think you shared your LinkedIn.
I did. I on the chat I already shared.
So thank you very much to all of
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.